Hello and welcome to our Kingdom Combat tutorial about the basics of combat. So first we need to know how the card works in combat. First you have your red arrow at the top, which is your attack value. You use this number when it's your turn and you're attacking with your units. The next number in blue is your defense value. This is the number you use when it's not your turn and you're the defending player. The third shield in green gives you the armor value of the unit and says how much damage that unit can take before it is destroyed. So let's show you some examples. Our player on the right has the spearmen, which they are the attacking player. The other player on the left with the rat swarm is our defending player. So when units are attacking each other, it's good to line them up like this. And our spearmen is doing 4 damage against the 2 armor of our rat swarm. The rat swarm defending is doing 2 damage back to the spearman's 4 armor. The 4 damage that the spearman did to the rat swarm is enough to destroy the rat swarm. The 2 damage that the rat swarm did defending to the spearman was not enough to destroy that unit, so that damage will fall off at the end of the turn. We have another example here where units can join together to attack or defend in combat. So let's see how this plays out. Again, line the cards up. Our spearmen will do 4 damage to the rat swarms. 2 damage to the first one, 2 damage to the next one. The rat swarms combine their defense. The spearmen did enough damage to destroy both rat swarms. The rat swarms combined did 4 damage back to the spearmen, which was enough to destroy them as well. Some cards will have multiple hit points. You'll see that indicated in the corner here. Units that don't have this indicator always have only 1 hit point. This particular one has 2. So let's see how that works in combat. Again, we have our active player on the right with the skeleton warriors. On the left, we have our royal cavalry, which is our defending player with the 2 hit points. So when these 2 cards are involved in combat, the skeleton warriors will do 5 damage to the armor of the royal cavalry, which is 5, and take away 1 hit point from this unit. When something loses a hit point, put an indicator, a die, something to indicate that it has the 1 hit point left. The Royal Cavalry defending will do 5 damage back to the Skeleton Warriors, 4 armor, which is enough to destroy that Skeleton Warrior. The Royal Cavalry lives to see another day. So this next example will bring in a joined-in attacking unit against the Royal Cavalry. Together, both Skeleton Warriors will do 10 damage against the Royal Cavalry's 5 armor. The Royal Cavalry will do 5 damage back to the Skeleton Warriors. The 10 damage is enough to take away 1 hit point off of 5, and another 5 damage takes off that second hit point, which will destroy the Royal Cavalry. The 5 damage defending that the Royal Cavalry was doing will do 4 to the first Skeleton Warrior, 1 to the next, which will destroy 1 Skeleton Warrior, and the other will live to see another day when the damage drops off at the end of turn. Combat in structures is a little different, so let's explain that. When you're looking at a structure, in the bottom right corner, it has its hit points. It's the amount of damage it takes to destroy this structure. So let's take a look at a basic example of how combat works in a structure. So our peasants are going to move in here and exhaust and move in to our barren lands to attack it. Peasants have 2 attack damage, and it will do 2 damage to our structure, which is enough to take away all of its hit points and destroy it. Here's a different example with our dead swamps that has 4 hit points. We'll bring in our peasants again, who will exhaust and move in to attack the dead swamps. they will deal their 2 damage to the dead swamps, which will take away 2 hit points. That wasn't enough to take away all the hit points, so we'll put a die or a counter on that structure to say that it has lost those 2 hit points. The peasants does not destroy it, so it stays inside the dead swamps for the next turn. So let's bring this example in and do something a little different, because we had a rat swarm in our dead swamps that was there trying to defend that structure. So when our peasants move in to attack that structure, because the rat swarm is active, it has the option to retreat and exhaust 1 zone back, which would leave this structure undefended, so all of the damage from the peasants would go on to our structure. Now, if in that same example, our rat swarm decided to stay and defend this structure, the peasants would do the damage to the unit that stayed and defended first. Of course, it only had 2 damage it can do. The rat swarm soaks up that damage. It would destroy the rat swarm, but the structure has not taken any damage that turn because it was defended by that unit. Here's another great example. If our spearmen, which are a little tougher than our peasants, come in and our rat swarm again defends, our spearmen are doing 4 damage across. So the unit that stayed to defend would soak up 2 of that damage, and the other 2 damage would go to the structure and do 2 hit points to that structure. The rat swarm, of course, would die because it took enough damage, but we would leave an indicator of 2 hit points of damage on that structure because it has taken damage, but it has not been destroyed. That's the basics of combat in Kingdom Combat. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and stay tuned to the other videos in our series on how to play Kingdom Combat. Thank you.